I'm trying not to cry.
Oh, what are these 2 red buttons? Like, you press them like this. And they're like, don't press those.
You know, what if all fetuses are gay?
I did discover that the weed whacker was a successful instrument of self-pleasure.
But like the male genitals by default already kind of looks like a burn victim. You know, you don't need to add insult to injury here.
Let's get into it.
Let's get into it.
So I have some spicy chicken.
Okay, Mike.
Okay.
We got to hear that beautiful voice.
I have some spicy chicken.
Oh, geez, say it slower.
I have some spicy chicken.
How spicy was it?
I don't have good words for that.
So it's funny because when I made the show doc, every week I make a show doc for Ian and I so that we kind of have an outline for how the show's supposed to go. And I included a spicy chicken, like a blind taste test. And I was thinking, like, we get a Popeye's chicken sandwich versus a McDonald's chicken sandwich or something like that. And you took it to the next level without really us discussing it at all. And you showed up today with what looks to be like chicken tenders from hell. These look so insanely hot. Where did you even get this?
I don't remember the name of the place.
And why are you trying to kill us?
Well, because you have a high tolerance for heat, and I kind of want to see how...
Dude, my mouth has a high tolerance for heat, but my butt does not.
I will participate if you want.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I'm not doing this alone. Are you kidding me?
Okay.
This ain't a solo mission.
Grab a
You
glove.
brought gloves.
Yeah, because
I'm terrified.
you just don't want to get the stuff on your hand and then rub your eye.
No, I don't want
afterwards.
this to be worse than it's already going to be.
Yeah.
I do appreciate that you warmed them up before we started the show. They do seem like they're, I guess,
Take one of these.
prepared well. I'm sure the heat.
That's for the tears.
The heat itself will be hot enough, but yeah, thanks.
Okay.
Appreciate that.
So these smaller ones are progressively hotter. So basically, the darker they get, the hotter they get.
I would imagine that's the case. So we're gonna start from the bottom and work our way up then.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take maybe one bite of that dark red one and be out.
The big one.
The big dark evil one.
That's the Mamma Mia.
It looks like Satan's hemorrhoid.
Okay.
Okay. So which one are we doing first? This lighter one? Okay. It is very crispy. Appreciate that. That's the least hot one?
Mm-hmm.
It's not like it's unbearable or anything, but there's heat to it. Like, that's probably too hot for most people. Like, the average person is going to find
You think
that
so?
one.
That's like pecan.
Maybe like jalapeno level.
Yeah. Yeah. Jalapeno territory.
All right.
All right. Next up, this guy here.
We're doing the whole... Okay. We're doing... just a bite here. I feel like it kind of takes a while for the heat to build.
Or this might have been like a level down. I actually was keeping track of them.
Uh-huh.
And then once I put them in here, it was like the only one I knew was the Bad Mama was the big one.
Yeah. There's no mistaking that one. That's the one I'm scared of.
Now this final piece is basically just eat as much as you can.
That's the challenge. Eat as much as you can. Mm-hmm. This is a lot of chicken.
Cheers.
Cheers. Yeah. Let's celebrate this.
Be careful to not inhale the seasoning.
I'm
while you're
trying.
chewing.
It's hard not to because you want to like aerate your mouth a bit to like cool it down, but then you know that's a bad idea. You're just gonna choke on a million spices. I'm beginning to sweat. Sweating.
That's not as bad as I remember. Actually, no, it's creeping up on me.
I feel like a cartoon where the smoke's coming out of their ears. Pain is not real.
Now,
You're crying. There's a tear coming down your
yeah.
cheek.
yeah,
That's about to be me.
what I learned recently after eating these yesterday is, and this was news to me, but my friend told me, yeah, it can get in your pee.
Oh, good.
So
Yeah.
After I ate this chicken yesterday, or the day before, I got up and I had to pee, and I was like, "Ooh, that's kind of warm. That's like that warming lubricant, but not in a good way."
That's perfect right now. It's good news.
The funny thing is, though, I think it's happened in the past, and I just never noticed it until my friend pointed it out.
Thank you for making me aware of that fact.
Now you get to watch for it.
Lucky me. I'm trying not to cry.
You gotta let the tears flow, man.
Oh, that burp. That burp could kill a baby.
What do you think? Good way to kick things off? I feel like almost like I trained for this already, and I'm doing better than you.
Because you ate some already?
Yeah, I had some.
So you did this challenge when? Earlier today? Yesterday?
Day before yesterday.
I think knowing what to expect helps a little bit. But maybe you built a little bit of tolerance?
Maybe because that last one is ruinous.
It is.
And I ate it, and I'm recovering quicker than you.
Sorry, headphone users, for all the burps.
You're welcome, ASMR enjoyers of a certain niche.
If we call this ASMR, there'd be backlash. We have to wait till we're on the toilet and then mic the toilets for it to be true ASMR. All right, I'm going in.
Do it. Feels good, right?
It's like I just came. That's how good it feels.
So getting into fails.
Yes.
All right.
We got some fails from our Discord. We also have some fails of our own to share with the class. Brown Geek. I was moving to a new office. Long story. We didn't want to move. The company was being stupid. Anyways, they told us to measure our desks so they can get us similar sized desks in the new office. They also asked for pictures of our current desks. We didn't want to give them the sizes because f them. So we just emailed the pics with a little note saying, we don't have a measuring tape, so we can't measure the desks. Turns out the picture I sent of the desks had a measuring tape in the pictures. The damn measuring tape was on the desks I was taking pictures of. They later replied saying, maybe use the measuring tape that's on the desk.
That's oof. Malicious compliance gone wrong.
That's like insta-busted, you know?
Yeah, that's definitely a fail. Solid fail.
I would just tell them the measuring tape's not working right now. It's defective.
You know, this is the thing.
Yeah.
Like,
is it?
It is. I've seen people post pictures of like 3 different measuring tapes all laid out together, and they all have different markings on. Like they're all inconsistent. So like, you know, you go to a construction site, you get 3 measuring tapes different people are using. They all have different measurement like variances on them.
Is that just a product of being defective?
I think it's a product of being a product of China.
That could be it, yeah.
Because also China has this weird thing that looks like it's an inch, but it's not actually an inch. But if you didn't know better, you'd think it's an inch on their measuring tape.
It's a China inch.
Yeah. But I think in this case it was more of a quality control issue. Oh, you're still feeling it over there, huh?
I am.
I mean, it's
on my lips.
I got some residual burning in my mouth, but it's not too bad.
Usually I can handle spice better than you.
I know.
This is a rare exception.
I'm genuinely surprised. I was not expecting this.
I'm okay.
All right.
It's finally cooling down. But there's a piece of
yeah, don't touch that.
breading staring at me, and I don't like it.
I'll give you $100 if you rub it on your eyes.
Oh, how about I put my dick in your mouth? How about that? I do that for free.
Okay, no deal. Okay, another fail. Thank you to our Discord peeps. We got CCM throwing out. I worked at Chick-Fil-A. Side note, I also worked at Chick-Fil-A.
Nice.
About a half mile from the store that was Lowe's Hardware. Apparently, a dude stole stuff from the Lowe's, ran to the Chick-fil-A, and promptly got arrested in the parking lot by the officers that were already at the restaurant. Side note, yes, you do see police eating at Chick-fil-A fairly often. I forget if they followed him there or whether they were eating. It's been many years. But seeing that dude sitting on the curb at the drive-thru made me chuckle. Why on earth would you run to a Chick-fil-A? There are always cops there.
You called it. So first of all, instant karma for this guy.
Yeah.
Also, just for being an idiot. But why are there always cops at Chick-fil-A?
Because Chick-fil-A is, well, when I worked there, Chick-fil-A was a bastion of
White people.
waspiness.
Waspiness?
Yeah, like Chick-fil-A was very Christian oriented and whatnot.
They just preferred the Christian environment.
Yeah.
You won't find them at a Thai restaurant, a Buddhist establishment.
I think that's where the detectives go. The beat cops.
Yeah, right.
They go to the Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, probably because that they have to be undercover at times, so they have got to keep a low profile. So they go where regular cops don't.
I'm guessing also the detectives have a little more open-mindedness to them, but I'm just firing in the dark here.
Or just the people who work in Asian restaurants are the people they're investigating.
Is that racist? I don't know.
You decide.
Yeah. Okay. Side note from Chick-fil-A. So the first job I ever had was at Papa John's. And I was in high school. And it was right down the street from my high school. So I'd go there after, I got out of class and was done for the day. And it was the most poorly managed business that I've ever been a part of. And I didn't know any better. But the store manager got fired shortly after I was hired. So there was two assistant managers running the place. They had a feud against each other. One of them was super racist. One of them was just like trashy. There was a laundry machine there because you have a apron and uniform and stuff you can wash there. One of the assistant managers was doing their laundry at work. And the other one had a beef with them, so they put powdered bleach in the detergent and just ruined like several loads of their clothes.
That's savage. Was that the racist one that did it?
It was, yeah.
We're gonna make everything white.
The other one, the one that was merely trashy, tried to take my virginity, and I was like, "That's flattering," but
did you put bleach on your dick?
I was like, "No, I'm saving it." And
I can just imagine you like being propositioned and you just being like, "No, thank you."
Yeah.
I respectfully decline.
I was polite about it. But yeah, that job was wild because I would just show up whenever I felt like it. So like I had a schedule, and I would just, if I didn't feel like working, I just wouldn't show up.
Right.
And
that's like a dream job for so many people.
I know. It was
like
wild.
Even if the pay sucks, if like, for people who just have zero ambition in life and they're just okay with doing the very bare minimum, which nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Like that, you had someone's perfect life for a while.
It was, and I didn't know any better. I was just like, oh, the schedule is a suggestion. Like nobody, not once did anybody ever say, you didn't come in this day, or why aren't you here, or anything about that. I was just like, I want to work. No, I don't want to work. Yeah, whatever.
As long as you didn't do your laundry on premises, everything was Gucci.
I stood away. I stayed away from that. I had nobody was like, stop making yourself free food. So I was just like, I was just like, I mean, the pizzas are here, the cinnamon pies are here, like.
Right. And didn't you say that when you got a job at Chick-fil-A afterwards, you would
yes, that's what this is leading back to.
Okay.
So I work at Chick-fil-A, and this is like a tightly run ship, and I'm standing in the kitchen just eating chicken nuggets out of the warmer, and the manager comes up and he's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like,
"What are you doing?"
To quote Chappelle, I was like, "I'm sorry, officer. I didn't know I couldn't do that." He's like, no, you can't do that. The food costs money. Go back to the registers. And I was like, oh, I guess I don't get free food the way I thought I did.
Did you also just not show up to work sometimes and find out?
At that point, I understood the importance of scheduling, and I was there on time.
Everyone there at Chick-fil-A probably referred to you as like the Papa John's guy. Like he came from Papa John's.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we get it.
That was not a good formative environment for me. That place was wild. And Chick-fil-A was cool though. They had this ladder to the roof. Because you know me, I'm like, I look around, I see a ladder that goes up to a hatch, and I'm like, I want to know what's up with that. So
Sure.
One day after closing, I go up there, and I'm like, oh, snap, this is the roof. So what do? Get some water balloons, start throwing them off the roof.
Just at anything?
There was a freeway right next to it. And
You were not throwing
no,
your
I was
cars.
not. I was like, I know better than that.
Okay.
I was just throwing them off to see them go sploosh and have fun.
Yeah.
But that was a one-off thing.
You could have just instantly lost your job in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah.
You were the only one there?
No. There. I had some other peeps who were like on the closing crew with me. I was like, hey, let's go up on the roof.
Were they all like, no, Ian?
No, they were down.
They were down. Okay.
There's a lot of chill people working at that Chick-fil-A.
All right. Because I always see the Chick-fil-A guys working there, the people who work there, as like very clean-cut, goody-two-shoes Christian folk. And usually younger, and they color within the lines. They're law-abiding citizens.
That's definitely the appearance that you get. And some of them are that way. Having worked there, I can say some of them are not that way.
Okay.
They give that appearance.
They probably act that way when the cops are there.
Yes.
Which is pretty much all the time.
And
cops go to Church's Chicken too, but just not to eat.
Okay, shame on me for laughing at that. but I can see the validity in that. Fun fact, and this goes for a lot of places. But one of the first days on the job was at the register training, and I was like, oh, what are these 2 red buttons? Like you could press them like this. And they're like, don't press those. Don't do it. Don't touch those.
That's like if someone has a gun, right?
Yeah. And they're like, yeah, some other newbie decided they want to test him out. And then the cops showed up all like ready for war.
They walked 3 feet over from the booth they were eating at.
Yeah.
Just like, you guys rang? What's up?
Yeah. So I unfortunately never had to use that.
Yeah.
But it was always fun to watch people almost do that and then get yelled at.
Yeah. I do have a fail story, really quick fail story. Not actually mine, but I went to take my car in to get an oil change the other day, and when I went to go pick it up, it was taking like a long time for them to bring it out. I was like waiting 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and I kind of made a joke to the guy. I'm like, someone take it for a Joyride or something? So I have an Audi RS3. It's a sporty car and stuff, and it's a nice car. It's Audi dealership, so they have nice cars there. And the rep, he said, someone who worked here once did take a customer's car for a Joyride. It was like a nice car. It was like a nice sports car. And he got busted. He got caught in the drive-through of McDonald's, getting like chicken nuggets.
On a Joyride?
On a Joyride. He stopped at McDonald's on the Joyride. But get this. The guy working at McDonald's was the owner of the car.
What?
This is just straight from the Audi rep's mouth.
Okay, so you're working at a drive-thru, and you see your car pull up in the drive-thru.
Yep.
When it's supposed to be getting serviced.
Yep.
But how are you working in a drive-thru at McDonald's and you have an Audi?
That's what I thought too. I was like, was he the franchise owner? Like he had to have like either owned that franchise or maybe been like a high up manager, even with a manager. I don't know what they get paid if you've got a managerial position. But that's the first thing I thought too.
That is really truly.
I was like, how do you own?
Bizarre. Did you check your dash cam footage after you got your car back?
I didn't, but I checked the mileage before and after, and there was no extra mileage on it.
Okay. So no Joyride on
No
yours.
Joyride, thankfully. They were just slow. But I thought that was pretty awesome.
Okay. I see you have a couple more fail stories.
All right.
I will. You want to back and forth them?
Yeah, you go.
Okay. So when I was in 6th grade, for some reason, there was some good behavior that was incentivized by candy. One of the candies available was Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, which I have a soft spot for.
Who was incentivizing you?
The teacher.
Okay.
And so I ended up getting a craving for Reese's Peanut Butter Cups at random times. And I would just, during recess or gym or whatever, just sneak off to the classroom and pillage the Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. And eventually that was noticed, that there was a big discrepancy between what
chocolate all over your face.
Well,
where did all the Reese's Peanut Butter Cups go?
Not quite that well. Yeah, that bad, I guess. Because there was many missing. They noticed that, and then they looked in my desk, and there was a bunch of wrappers in there.
The evidence was damning.
It was pretty rock solid. I got busted.
Case closed. Damn. But that's how you learn. That's how you learn. You're like, all right, what I did was wrong, and next time I gotta hide the wrappers.
Exactly. That was the takeaway. It was like, if you're gonna do something illicit, hide the evidence. Dispose of the evidence.
A rookie mistake.
Yeah. It was a learning experience.
You got to start somewhere. Yeah, educational. I'm glad you learned your lesson.
That wasn't the lesson I was supposed to learn, but
but it's the one you ended up with. So
yeah,
take it. So my fail story right now is actually much more recent than yours, the one that you just shared, and you were there for it in some respects. So Ian and I lived together for a little over a year. This was probably last year, I think this happened. We were living together at the time, and we got a notice from the city that said, we're repaving your road on these dates, so don't drive on the road during these dates. And it was, a flyer that I kind of just saw and like, okay, and completely disregarded and probably threw in the trash or whatever. And then one day I wake up and I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to have lunch, meet up with my parents and in the area. And I was running late. So I wasn't really thinking. I kind of rushed out the door. I back out of the driveway in my car, and then I take off. And I'm going maybe only, 6 or 7 houses down before I realize the road feels a little funny. My window's cracked, and it also sounds a little funny outside. It's a weird sound that the tires are making. So I look in the rearview mirror, and I see my own tire tracks going into the wet asphalt of the road. And I look ahead of me again, and the road is way too shiny. It's way too shiny. And I go, oh, shit.
Yeah.
I'm so screwed. What have I done? And at that point, I'm panicking, right? I mean, instant panic. Immediate panic sets in. And I'm thinking, well, what do I do right now? If I make a U-turn and go back home, I'm just going to leave twice as many tracks going back the other way. So the thought I had was to just pull off at the next turn. But the next turn was coned off because they didn't want people driving on our street. So I literally had to stop the car and get out and move the cones myself, leaving footprints, additional footprints in the asphalt as well, getting tar all over my shoes, and then going back to the car, leaving another set of tracks, and then driving off, and then getting out and moving the cone back. And I was like, oh my God. I immediately called the city, tried to get, took a while to get to the right department or whatever. And I was like, I live at this address, and I just drove through the tracks. It's wet. Please send someone to fix it before it dries,
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's going to be a serious issue. And the lady was just kind of she seemed very underwhelmed by the whole thing. She's just like, oh, okay, I'll notify him. I'm like, you're sure you're going to let them know? She's like, okay. And then like a day or two later. Like I think they came back and
They just steamrolled
it. Yeah, and it was.
The tracks are still slightly visible if you know what you're looking for.
Yeah, I've noticed that. They're still there a little bit, but you won't actually catch them unless you're looking for them. But you want to tell your side of it?
Oh yeah, no, I guess I was, unlike you, aware of that project. So I parked my car in the driveway.
Yeah.
And I parked it up off on another street where
Right.
it wasn't affected. And then I get up and I walk out, and I don't remember why, but I just was like, hey, I'm gonna walk out and get some sun, and I see these tire tracks on the road, and I'm like, oh, that was today, and these tire tracks are coming out of our driveway. So I'm like, okay, I'll take a leisurely stroll down the street and just follow these tracks of shame, and take some pictures of them. and to your credit, you were already very aware of what had happened.
Yeah.
But I was just like, in case he didn't notice, I'm going to text him and be like...
It's good that you documented it anyway.
Yeah.
I'm really glad you did.
Yeah. So I took
for the memories.
Yes. So I thought it was hilarious.
I mean, the best part about it is that everybody in the neighborhood knew it was me because the tracks clearly come from my driveway.
Yeah.
So there was no hiding. It was like this epic fail that, in a weird way, it was almost like delayed embarrassment. An embarrassment that wasn't in my face, but I knew was there. I didn't get away. I kind of got away, but I didn't really. And that whole week, I was terrified that someone would knock on my door and hit me with like a fat bill or something from the city, and just nothing ever came.
I'm surprised, but yeah, the city was just like, man, we can flatten it down. We don't have to bill you.
I have to think maybe it happens all the time or something, and they're just kind of used to it. They're like, yeah, we'll give it 12 hours and keep
Asphalt,
the steamroller on standby.
To be fair, asphalt is a lot easier to fix than concrete. So
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, so that was on my side. But, it's weird because the story kind of continues because I had all this tar build up on my car. Driving through the tar, the asphalt, it dried up on the sides and the bottom, the undercarriage of my car, and it was everywhere. And I left it on there for maybe 2 weeks before I got out some Goo Gone and scraped it all off, just on the sides. I wasn't going to get under my car. It's too low. But I ended up kind of scratching up my paint in the process on the sides of the vehicle. So I claimed it with my insurance, and they had me take it to a shop that they worked with, and the shop completely repainted the entire car.
It was the whole car?
It was the whole car.
Wow.
Even though it was only a few scratches on like the bottom sides, like by the driver and passenger side door. I think really what it was that shop wanted some cash. They wanted some insurance money.
They got it.
So they got it. They sent me home with the invoice, and it was over like $25,000 of work that they did to my car just for a few little scratches because they wanted that moolah. They wanted that Skrilla.
Did they get the gunk off the bottom?
They got the gunk off the bottom too. And so I drove off. That whole incident, despite my stupidity, I drove off with my car looking better than it did the day I drove it off the lot with a fresh coat of paint.
So you actually came up in a big way out of that.
Yeah, honestly, quite a sweet ending to a story that I feel like I didn't deserve that ending.
I feel like that's a common theme in our lives is somehow failing upwards.
Right.
And I don't know. I sometimes I attribute it to, trying to put good karma in the bank when I can.
Yeah.
And keeping that balance,
Right.
right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think it's interesting because, they always say like life isn't fair, where it's like you do good things and you still get screwed over.
Yeah.
But then to that same point, sometimes you do stupid ass things and you win. and great things happen. So
Yeah.
I guess maybe in that sense, life can be fair as well.
Life is
Maybe
just
it kind of balances out a little bit.
It's just random, I guess.
Yeah.
It's
Marbles clashing everywhere.
Yeah.
But that was probably my biggest fail up, I would say.
And also you blew up your ECU.
That was a fail down. That's just a normal fail.
Let's see.
You got one? You got another? Yeah, I know you got another one, don't you?
Yeah, so I like to take things apart as a kid to learn how they worked, my propensity for breaking and taking things apart was well known to my parents. But for some reason, my dad gave me a nice camcorder, like he had gotten a newer model, video camera, whatever, and gave me this camcorder. And there was no discussion about the disposition of it. He was like, "Here, you can have this," and I was like, "Okay." And his expectation was that he had not stated, "Now you have a video camera. Go take videos. Do stuff with it." Right? That was not my. I was like, if I'm going to take videos, I'm going to use the better video camera anyway. So I took that thing apart. I was having a lot of fun. I figured out how variable apertures work because of the mechanical iris and some other neat stuff in there. And then my dad walks in and he sees this whole mess of parts and he's like really pissed. And I was like, "What? You gave this to me,
right?
Like, what did you think was gonna happen?"
Yeah.
Unfortunately, for the most part, when I take things apart, it's destructive. It's not a carefully, I fix it. I can take it apart and reassemble it.
Yeah.
And it works again.
Yeah. You've labeled all the screws
Right.
and wrote a diagram of
I-
how to put it back together. None of that.
I can't find the screw that's holding this thing shut and just pry it open, break it open.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Brute force everything.
So it was destroyed. And it was I guess looking back, it was a little bit of a bummer because I probably would have had fun taking videos with it. I
Right.
probably would have taken some stupid videos that would have made for good content
Sure.
down the line. But instead, I turned it into a pile of parts and mostly broken parts. But I learned a lot about how cameras work. All in all, I'd do it again.
Yeah. I remember when I was a kid, I must have been in 5th grade, 6th grade. We did this Explorer report where you had to choose an Explorer and then show up to class and give a presentation dressed as the Explorer. And you had to draw a map of where they went and all this shit. It was this huge project for, being that age. And I think I was Magellan or some gay dude or something like that. And then I chose to dress up.
Was Magellan gay?
I don't know. Probably sounds gay. Magellan. Hey, let's invite Luke, John, and Magellan. Is Magellan coming? He's got to be a little. Would you name your kid Magellan?
Probably not.
Only if he was gay.
You can't. Okay, what happens when technology advances to the point where you can have a kid and just have a test done and be like, "Oh, ding, they're gay." Oh, well, we better. Okay, good. We know that ahead of time. We can choose a better name for them.
Yeah, exactly. Once we can see ultrasound footage of a male baby just twerking inside the womb, congratulations, your baby's gay.
I mean, if you ask any pregnant woman, she will confirm that all babies twerk inside the womb. So, or at least that's what it feels like.
They're all convinced that they're doing, what is it, the Harlem Shake?
Apparently as a baby, unborn baby, my favorite thing to do when I was, just about done, only had a few months left, was to wake my mom up in the middle of the night by taking my feet and pressing them into her bladder. just like leg lifts onto her bladder.
So you've been dealing with cramped leg space your whole life. Even it started from day one, man.
Yeah. No, that was apparently my favorite activity around 3 a.m.
Or maybe it was sort of like a dance move. You were trying to get groovy with it. What if all fetuses are gay, and it's not until you're born where you either stay gay or you turn straight?
That is a very interesting concept. I wonder if there's been any studies done on that.
We'd pass a lot more abortion laws if we could prove that fetuses were gay.
Oh my God.
Why didn't you say that in the beginning? Jesus. We can definitely edit that out if we need to later.
That's definitely borderline.
TOS. Borderline TOS.
Yeah.
But what were we talking about? We were saying...
I don't know. We got off in the weeds there.
Yeah. Taking apart camcorders. Good stuff. Man, I have another story about how my roommate stole my PS3, but it's a long story, and I kind of want to move on to the next section. So we'll save that one for next time.
All right.
Confessions. We have some confessions from both ourselves and our very loyal Discord followers. This one's from Drunken Gamer. I was making the brews for everyone at break time and had only just boiled the kettle. He was always being a total dick to me, so as I was the only one in the break room, I dicked his boiling hot cup of joe. Had to make a trip to sheepishly explain to the doctor why I had third-degree burns on my wiener. Doc nearly pissed himself laughing.
That's a fail.
Wow. It's a confession and a fail.
It's
right?
It's a confession of a fail.
Ouch. Like, why did you not see that coming?
I mean, to be so full of hatred to just forget that
Burn your dick off?
was it. I mean, did he forget that?
Yeah, I'm having a hard time. Were you drunk?
I mean, he is Drunken Gamer, so
Yeah, he is Drunken Gamer. That's right. The name fits.
so he wanted revenge. I mean,
That's like a kamikaze move.
that's a kamikaze with your dick. Okay, I wonder if he got scarring from that.
I mean, your wiener's pretty sensitive, you know?
Yeah,
It's not like the toughest skin or anything.
like why not the balls?
Yeah, the balls are a little bit more resistant.
Yeah,
But like the male genitals by default already kind of looks like a burn victim. You know? You don't need to add insult to injury here.
yeah. Genitals are not pretty.
Maybe he was just heat of the moment, really hated this guy, wasn't thinking logically. He was just blinded by vengeance.
Yeah,
You know?
I can see that.
Yeah.
Now the question
God,
is,
rest in peace to your wiener.
did
man.
that coffee ever make it to the
That's what we want to know. Yeah.
the guy who was trying to get revenge on?
Yeah.
Or did it
Was it just in vain?
burned your dick for nothing?
Man. Oh, this is a confession from Lenticular, once again. Nickelback isn't as bad as the internet makes them out to be. Ooh, hot topic. Hot topic. You know, to be fair, I never really understood all of the hatred surrounding Nickelback either. Now, granted, I don't really like their music or like them as a band. Like, they've never really appealed to me. I wouldn't say I hate them, but they've just never really stood out to me. But they never really struck me as, like, the worst band ever either. Like, I could name a million bands that are, in my opinion, sounds worse, just shittier music overall. Obviously, music is highly subjective, you know.
Yeah.
But I guess I've always just been kind of surprised that Nickelback was the one that everyone jumped on.
I mean, when people are shitting on Nickelback, is it because they're saying their music is bad, or is it because they're saying that them as a band are bad people?
I think the lead singer, there's been some controversy around him. I don't want to say anything specifically because I can't remember exactly. But he seems to be sort of, you know, get a little borderline douche territory.
Okay.
From what I can remember, and what I've heard is that the music is shit. Like they use the same progression chords. It's very generic sounding. And then also like the lyrics are garbage. You know, is another thing I've heard. But ultimately, I think the world just needed a band to hate. And once they found one, like it's fun to just dogpile.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's
Yeah.
a herd mentality thing where it's like it's more like making fun of Nickelback it makes way more sense than
trying to stand up for them.
trying to stand up for them, right?
I don't know enough about them to really have an opinion. I'm the Switzerland on this one.
Yeah.
I've no input other than to say, I guess lenticular. That's a bold statement because clearly the common viewpoint is against yours. So you're standing up for your beliefs.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't get too involved. I love like trying to make Nickelback jokes like I have in the past. Like when I see people ganging up on them online, I'll like throw a Nickelback joke in there, but it has nothing to do with the fact that I don't like Nickelback. It's just fun. It's like I'm just roasting them to roast them. You know, it's like, oh, okay, I'll throw my
Everybody's already
coin in the hat.
Yeah. Okay. Might as well join in.
Yeah.
Have some fun.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Just fuel the fire a little bit. just slowly destroy this band's reputation, one tweet at a time. More confessions. What is this plasma globe intimacy?
Oh, well, you know those plasma globes? Those are the
Where you touch it in the electrocution?
yeah. It's a big glass globe.
Right.
It's got cool plasma filaments going around.
They always had them at like Spencer's Gifts and stuff.
Yeah.
Sure.
Exactly. Well, one day I noticed if I touched it with like a wet finger, I got a little
tingle.
Yeah.
Right.
And being
I see where this is going.
a teenager and full of hormones and unfulfilled urges.
Yep.
I decided to go and see what would happen if I tried to interface my genitals with that plasma globe.
Was it the sausage or the meatballs?
The sausage.
Okay.
And
just the tip, or kind of more like shaft area?
Just the tip.
Okay, just the tip. I can't think of a better time I've used that phrase just so perfectly.
It was very apropos. And that did not. It wasn't fail. I didn't damage myself, but it was just like underwhelming. I was just
okay. Right.
I was hoping for more.
Yeah.
And I was just like, this isn't going anywhere.
Yeah, right.
Now on that topic, I did discover that the Weed Whacker was a successful instrument of self pleasure.
Wait, the Weed Whacker is like the thing with like it spins around, like with the little thread.
Yes.
That doesn't that.
So
not hurt?
So that was a gas powered Weed Whacker. You remember that? Remember the Harry Potter brooms that vibrated?
No.
Okay, so there was this whole thing when they released the merch for Harry Potter, and they had these brooms, and they had like a little vibrating motor in them.
Those definitely got misused.
There was a whole thing about that. Anyway, I was basically using the vibration from this Weed Whacker motor in that manner, and that was successful. Although,
okay.
If I was a fly on the wall, I would have seen somebody just standing holding a Weed Whacker kind of weirdly for 15 minutes and then turning it off and going inside.
Going to bed. Wait, going inside? So you did this outside?
Yeah.
Like in your backyard?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like in your front yard. Your neighbor's just like, what's Ian doing? What?
Yeah. So
why is he crying?
So that Weed Whacker got misused once or twice.
With a name like Weed Whacker, you'd think it's got to work well with your dick. It's practically just begging to be used for that. But man, that's funny about the plasma globe.
Yeah, I had high hopes for that. I mean, it's technology,
right?
And it's electricity, and it's
Do you think when Thomas Edison first discovered electricity, he put his dick on the light bulb? Like within the exact same vein that you were with the plasma globe. He had to have.
There's got to be a lot of electrical engineering pioneers who are like, I wonder what this does.
That's like, I think that's just like a human thing, right? It's like we make some great breakthrough discovery, and like one of the first thoughts you have is, could this be a sex thing? Like, could we use this for sex?
Yeah, I mean, at least the male mind tends to go that way.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I mean, and at this point, electricity as a sexual aid has been harnessed.
Yes,
it is a real thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not going to go into the details of that.
We don't need to, but I'm aware.
But we have the technology.
Yeah, we do.
No more sticking your dick in a light socket is required. People have done the hard work, made the sacrifices.
You don't need to shut your dick off anymore.
Develop the technology. You ever make it with a vacuum cleaner?
I would be too scared.
That means you thought about it and you were like, no, this is scary.
I don't think I've ever even thought about it. I don't think it's ever crossed my mind. Maybe because I hate chores. It just has a negative connotation in my mind. It's like, ew, I don't want to vacuum. I don't like vacuuming my room. Why would I vacuum my dick?
Yeah, you could. It was an instrument of annoyance. You couldn't revision it as an instrument of pleasure.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Well, that's good because apparently not uncommon to get your dick stuck in a vacuum cleaner.
Yeah, I'm sure there's got to be a number of cases in, like, urgent care or the ER where someone just comes with a vacuum on their dick.
There's so many. And people put the craziest stuff up their butts.
Yeah. What's the weirdest thing you've seen someone put up their butt or get stuck up there?
I did see one X-ray that was just like a guy with a light bulb.
Oh no!
And the caption,
that's scary.
The caption was either this guy has a light bulb in his ass, or his ass just had a great idea. But yeah, things can get stuck in your butt real easily, and then it's an emergency, and you have to get surgery, and it's not a pretty thing to get it out. So
you have to get surgery. They can't just fish it out.
Sometimes they can if they're lucky. Like what they'll do is they'll put a Foley catheter in there, and a Foley catheter it's like this slim little tube, but it has a little balloon on the end that can fill with saline.
Okay.
So they'll slip a Foley catheter past the foreign object, and then basically inflate the tip of it so that they can use it to kind of pull the thing out.
I see.
But yeah, if all else fails, the only way to get that thing, because if you have a thing stuck in your rectum or your colon, like that's a medical emergency. You'll end up dying because you can't poop.
Oh shit.
So they have to go and cut open you and then cut open your colon and remove that object from your colon and sew it all up again.
Oh hell no.
So very important PSA. Anything that's going in your butt needs to have a flared base.
Right.
Like it needs to have some part of it that cannot fit. So it does not get sucked up in there.
Right, exactly. It's got to have a stopper or something like that.
Yeah. I recently saw this article about somebody who had, just your standard dildo type of thing stuck in there. And they thought it was just pure silicone. So they went to get MRI imaging so they could get a better picture of the situation. Turns out that dildo had a ferromagnetic, like iron or steel core to it.
Right.
And so basically in an MRI machine, it got turned into sort of a railgun. Like
what?
Like it.
Wait, what happened?
It just launched. It launched through their body.
Through their body?
Kinda, yeah.
No.
Because the intense magnetic field just like.
No.
Yeah, so it didn't get pushed out. It got pushed through.
Through them, like through their stomach or I guess their pelvic area.
And I don't know where it went after that, but yeah.
Did that person survive? Do you know?
I think they did. I mean,
that's unfortunate because I'd hope I would die right then and there. Never have to relive that trauma in my head. That's awful.
Yeah.
All right, we're pulling some stuff directly from the Discord in real time right now, and we actually have some entries. Some people are chatting up the relationship advice channel, and this one's from This Brown Geek. He said, if your partner or SO, significant other, places their phone screen side down, they may be hiding something, unless they placed it screen side down so they can focus on you. But if it's kind of a new thing they've just started doing, then it's kind of sus. Also, don't go through someone's phone. That's lame. You either trust someone or you don't. And if you don't, it'll never work. That's fair. So what's your policy on... You leave your phone face down all the time.
Yes, because I see people, like, they'll have their phone out and it'll be off and they get a text message and the entire text message just pops up on their screen. Like I have my phone locked, and if there's a text message, I just know that I got a text message.
Right.
Like from looking at it, you can't see any content or anything. So it really doesn't make a difference whether it's up or down. My philosophy has always been to put it face down because if something falls on it, it's protected. The screen is protected.
So it's more of a practical thing that you do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you ever had an issue with has an SO of yours or anyone you've dated in the past had an issue with You putting it face down? Like, what's up with you putting your phone face down?
No, that goes to the when people do that, that's like jealousy or
insecurity
or projection because they're doing something sketchy.
Sure.
And then they inevitably kind of project that onto you.
Yeah, I think what he's saying is true though, where it's like if it's a new thing that they're doing, like they never traditionally used to like hide the front of their phone and they start doing it out of nowhere, then
that's worth noticing, I guess.
It's worth noticing, I think. And I guess it wouldn't be fair. It's never fair or right to look through someone's phone. I think that's fucked up. But if you did suspect something fishy was going on, I think just approaching them about it openly is probably the best policy. Just be like, hey, I noticed that you've been doing this thing, and I'm just kind of wondering if everything's okay, and kind of just makes me feel a little concerned. Is everything okay?
Well, that's a very mature approach.
Right. Yeah.
Mostly, I would expect it to just be, yelling and accusations.
Right. Is it a red flag if an SO asks you to keep your phone unlocked?
I don't know if I would call it a red. Yeah, I guess it's a red flag. I just wouldn't do it.
Right. Yeah.
I would refuse.
Yeah. I think it is a red flag because it just shows that they don't trust you. Like there's not full trust between you and that person. There's deeper issues that need to be discussed.
Absolutely.
If they're asking that.
Yeah.
Let's see what else is in the relationship. We haven't really done. This is the first time we've done relationship advice.
I think this is worth mentioning, and it's not necessarily relationship advice, although it definitely applies.
What is it?
Know your worth. Accept your flaws. If you can't accept your flaws, you sure as hell won't accept others' flaws. And
that's fair.
That's more falling into life advice, but it can definitely translate to being relevant to relationships.
Right.
Like if you're not comfortable with yourself, then how can you expect somebody to be comfortable with you?
Right. Exactly.
If you secretly hate yourself, then you're always going to expect a partner to figure out why you hate yourself and then start hating you.
Right. It becomes like this self-sabotage thing.
Kind of, yeah.
And it also goes the other way too, where it's like if you can't forgive yourself for your flaws, then you're probably going to be less forgiving of somebody else's flaws.
Right. And having the self-awareness to understand your flaws is a huge mark of maturity in terms of being able to be in a successful relationship.
Right. Yeah.
So that's not bad. That's not exactly relationship advice, but it's very relevant.
Right. And it doesn't mean that you have to completely accept all of your partner's flaws.
Right.
Like there's I think there's a book or something called like I Love You, Now Change. Where it's like there's like that's part of being in a relationship, I think, is helping each other improve. And being honest with one another. If there is something that bothers you, it's best to not sweep it under the rug because it's just going to resurface at some point later.
Right.
And eventually boil over into something that's just much harder to control, when it just spirals out. So it's like listing your grievances, vocalizing your grievances with one another in an open way that's not attacking, but just showing, genuine concern and, and if you're with the right person that's trusting as well, then they'll appreciate you for that, as opposed to, going full defensive and making you feel bad about bringing that up.
Yeah. And I would say in a good relationship, I would say you should naturally feel a willingness to change for the better, and if not desire to change for the better because of the relationship that you're in.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for taking relationship advice from Ian and I.
You don't have to take it, but it's there if you want it.
Yeah. On that note, this was fun. Thank you guys for joining us.
Indeed.
Another one in the can. Again, join the Discord if you haven't yet. Link in the description. We'll see you guys next week.
Adios.